What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Double Coverage. We hope you're still living, loving, and breathing sport. I'm Dom with the Great Man Sauce and
How
two
are
of
we,
the
Doma?
finest gentlemen going around, Neb and Panther from Talking Cardboard. Thanks for joining us.
I thought you were introducing me before Sauce when you said the great man, and then you got into him, and I was
Yeah.
like, hang on.
I'll
I've risen up.
I'll be the only one referred to as the great man on this
Look,
podcast.
it's your own
mate.
podcast. Let you have it.
I'll tell you what, ladies and gents, you're in for a treat. I think there could be more shit talked here than what is in a sewage fucking plant. It could be out of control tonight, but we are going to do an NBA preview. And yeah, once again, thanks, boys, for joining us. Really appreciate it. We're just going to go through the East, the West, give our tips, overs and unders, talk some shit along the way, relate it back to the hobby as well, with some cards who we think we should and shouldn't be investing in. And that's pretty much it. So we'll just hit the ground running, boys, and we'll start off one of the best teams that had one of the best off seasons, the Atlanta Hawks. Give us some thoughts, gents. I reckon they could be very, very good.
Well, I think the Bucks are definitely going to be salty that they missed out on Bojan. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. A lot of people have invested a lot of money into Trae Young cards, and he's finally got a bit of a supporting cast to have a winning record, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. What do you think, Panther? Are you big on the Hawks
Still
or not?
not sold. Like, I think they've put some more around Trae, which I think is obviously good and it was needed. But I'm just still not sold on Trae Young as a centerpiece, and I think he's super talented, but I still just see him as and I know yourself included, as a maybe a closet, because I don't think you tell too many guys about it these days. Big Russell Westbrook fan, but I sort of see his career going that Russell Westbrook trajectory where, sure, he can put up these great numbers, but does he really have the mental strength to sort of, to be consistent and to win games and to carry a team? I'm not sold on that. But, I mean, they've put some great pieces around him. I think that'll help him.
Well, the one thing I really like about Trae Young is his three-point shooting, though. I mean, if you compare him to Luka in that aspect, he has got him well covered in that aspect. And I think now putting some good role players around him as well, I think he's going to get better looks as well. He's not going to have to take so many ISO threes. So I don't know. There's nothing that Trae Young can't do in terms of a point guard. He can score. He can assist.
You think having Rondo as a mentor might be able to help sort of bring him along a little bit?
Yeah, well, I'm bullish on their chances, but again, when you look at the East isn't the rubbish cesspool that it was a couple of years ago. Teams are getting better. Brooklyn's going to be a really good team. The main guys, the Raptors, the Sixers, the Celtics, they're all looking to get better. You look at what the Hornets have done; they've added some good pieces as well. To get into the East this year, I would say you just about have to have a winning record, or very, very close to even get a playoff spot. So I don't know. Are the Hawks making the playoffs? Where do we see them? Where do we see them fitting in that loaded East now?
Definitely playoffs. Obviously, they picked up Rondo. They got Gallo. They got him. Chris Dunn, they picked up as well. They got DeAndre Hunter there. Cam Reddish comes into his second year. So potential growth for him. Obviously, like you said, they got Bogdanovic. Yeah, Gallo, Clint Capella, and then John Collins is there with Trae Young. So
when you start to see all these names and you start to put them all together in a list, it's pretty fucking stacked, isn't it? Like,
come
together though. That's my.
Well, let's be realistic.
How do they come together?
If they come out with this team this year and get like 30 wins, it's going to be a real disappointment. They're going to have to go pretty close if they don't make the playoffs.
Surely.
But I'm saying though, last year they were pretty average. They're going to have to
47 last year.
Yeah, they're going to have to go very, very close to getting a playoff spot or get in the playoffs for this season to be a pass mark, in my opinion. When you've gone out and got all these, these additions, and Trae, this is his, third full year if he's healthy. At what point do you start going, well, you gotta make the playoffs, or you got to be competitive. Otherwise, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I agree. I would have to agree with that sentiment. One thing to note, the bookies do have them at over and under 34.5 wins. That's the number that has been slapped on them.
That's ridiculous. I'm taking that right now.
By sportsbet. .com.au.
Shane,
Put me down, Doma. Put me down. I'm taking overs.
He's gone overs.
So we're going to lock it in. Panthers going overs. Overs on the.
But I think they're gonna, where they'll potentially fall down as the playoffs. I think when you think about that roster realistically, it's almost a bit of a scenario of like, last season with the Clippers, with limited practice together. This chemistry that everyone talks about, yet they could still string together a decent regular season. I think that's where the Hawks are going to be able to, with that roster and that quality of sort of personnel, they're going to be able to win games in the regular season. They're going to smash 34 games and they're going to make the playoffs. But how they can go in the playoffs and what sort of chemistry and as a team they can put together for the playoffs and as a run in the playoffs is probably the question in my mind. Like, that's where I'd go, don't know.
Well, the only question I have for you, does 34 wins get you in the playoffs in the East this year? Remember, it's a 72-game season, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think 72 games.
I think it does.
Yeah,
But
I
I
think
think they're going to eclipse. I'm not even saying overs. I'm going like +8. I'm going there. They're winning 40.
Whoa.
Put down 40
Look,
plus.
the-
Mate.
How
I'm
many
opening
beers?
the
How many
market.
beers has Cam had?
It's already 16.
I'm
He's
3
He's
deep. I'm
been
3
one
deep.
of
I'm
the biggest
+8 on
Trae
the
Young
beer.
knockers in the hobby, and he's just
But
gone,
I think
full
that's
steam
silly.
ahead.
Do you honestly think with that roster that it's silly to think they could win 40 games?
Well, offensively, last year they were last season. Sorry, not last year, same year, but last season they were ranked 25th in offense and 28th in defense. So they've got a lot of room to grow here. So
Yeah, that's one thing that
offensively,
they
they're
will have
tame.
to improve.
yeah,
Defense has to improve for them to win that amount of games. Their defense has to improve. They can't be giving up 130 points a game.
I think though with
continuous.
Trey, Gallo, like that team itself, I think in a regular season you can just play like almost Washington last year or even Bucks regular season basketball, where it's just an arms race and you're looking at 130 to 125 and it's like an all-star game with no defense played and it's just
exactly.
you can score the most up and down the court. And I think that Hawks team could give almost anyone a run for money with just offensive firepower and just scoring. And
But
then,
all their guys are pretty much great defenders that they picked up, like Capella, great defender.
I was about to say
Rondo,
that.
great defender. Gallinari is a good defender. Chris Dunn is an elite defender, can guard like 3 positions. I'm not sure about John Collins, what he's like. Trae Young doesn't play any defense, so.
But I mean, those pickups instantly make them better on defense straight away.
So I think I don't think you can even compare last year's result to the roster that you've got this year. Like, I think that's such a different team.
And it's important for their organization to take that next step and make the playoffs and get
100%.
those young guys that playoff experience because, if they're looking towards, say, the next 5 years of that franchise, this is where you want to be locking in some of that playoff experience. So when it comes to the point where these guys are coming to the peak of their career and they can put the right pieces around them going forward, they can actually have a chance at potentially winning a championship.
And just finally on Trey as well, I think he's probably got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Luka has had, all the attention between those two. And, if you look at what Trey's had to work with in terms of teammates compared to what Luka's had, not that Luka's team is stacked, but I mean, he's got Porzingis.
A really unhealthy Porzingis.
But I mean, he's had a bit of shooting and, a team that made the playoffs, whereas, Trae Young's been playing on a cellar dweller East team, and now I think he's probably going to go, well, now I've got some weapons at my disposal. Let's see what I can do. So
he's got some real support for the first time ever, and I think that's going to be a good thing because we know that he can pass as well. We know that he can. There's so much more to his game than probably just the way he's almost being drained. And I'd hate to see that Hawks roster from last year go on for a couple of years and he just almost has the life sapped out of him, sort of drained by having to try to just do everything. So, look, it's a good thing. Gallo was a good leader for the Clips when we had him. I think Rondo there as well. You've got those sort of vets to help him. It's definitely exciting.
Definitely. Just before we do move on to the over-unders for everyone, as we know, Panthers gone overs, so we don't need to ask him. But just quickly, Reddish into his second year. This is relating this now to the hobby. Reddish second year.
Collins fourth year.
Collins fourth year, and then Young third year. Even DeAndre Hunter is there. thoughts. I think Cam Reddish is probably the one everyone's going to be looking at for his growth coming into his second season. So
I'd really like to see his auto extend past one line. That's where I'd like to see his growth in the hobby. I think now that he's no longer a rookie and he's probably
He's added a dot, hasn't he?
Hasn't been asked for an autograph for 6 months now, and he's back to being a nobody. Maybe his auto gets back to form.
I wouldn't count on it. I think Hunter is the one that sort of goes a little bit under the radar. I think he could be as good a player as Reddish, maybe better. It's interesting in a few of the pods I was listening to, they're saying that Reddish may get moved to coming off the bench. So I'm not really sure exactly how that's going to affect his development. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. They're both players with a lot of potential, and it's just going to be interesting if the Hawks do become a much better team than what they were last year, whether the younger players on this roster now sort of get shuffled back a little bit and, their minutes sort of diminish a little bit. I mean, they were lucky last year. The Hawks were rubbish. So, the coaches were more than happy to get minutes into those guys. But, you quickly see, like what happened at the Lakers, when you bring in, some good players, then suddenly the young players just become, sort of on the fringes. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Definitely. All right, let's go for it. Panthers overs. Neb, what do you got?
Begrudgingly, I'm going to join Panther. I'll go the overs as well. I'm not sure if I'm sold on it 100%.
All aboard, mate. Get on the bus.
I said I like Trey's 3-point shooting, and I'll back the over.
Are you going 40 games overs with me though, or are you staying just overs?
I'm staying around that 34, 35 mark there, mate. Nothing crazy.
Saucy, what are you going?
I'm going to go overs as well. I reckon they can piece it together. I think the vets that they've brought in are solid. And, there are some teams in that East where you would now consider with this roster, you look at them both on paper and you'd be like, they are considerably the better team.
Bang.
So
easy. Very nice. I've gone overs as well. Next up, we have the Boston Celtics. 48-24 last season. Ranked 4th in offense, 4th in defense. Notable pickup was Jeff Teague and Tristan Thompson. So, Saucy, what's the over?
Notable out. Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, Gordon Hayward. But who gives a shit?
He's a
shit
nobody.
contract. What's the over-unders for that? And then we'll jump into some...
the over-unders is the bookies have got him at 44.5 games.
44.5. Very nice.
Well,
all right, gentlemen.
Is Cantor and Tristan Thompson, is that where do we see that? Do we see Thompson as a notable upgrade?
Well, on any other team in the NBA, signing Tristan Thompson would be almost an absolute non-event. But the fact they've just had so little in that department for the last couple of years, I almost feel like signing Tristan Thompson is a pretty important piece for the puzzle for them. I mean, their cap situation was difficult. They were never going to be able to go out and get an elite big man, but just get someone who can get the job done. You saw, he might not be what he was when he was at Cleveland, but, he is a player that can get the job done. If he's
at least don't have to rely on Tice. He's useless.
I mean, Tice is okay, but I mean, he's just, he was asked to do too much. He carried so much of the defensive load there. And when he would foul out of games, instantly you just saw it was almost like green light. Like you saw it when they got knocked out. It was just like instantly go to the paint because there was no one else on the Celtics that was
such a small team without him.
Yeah, so I think it's a really important signing for them. I think that makes them a much better team. I don't think losing Hayward is a big out for them, and I'll tell you what, because I think you've already got two guys in Tatum and Jaylen Brown that can go out and get you 25 points a game. You don't need another scorer like Hayward on that team, in my opinion. So I think that both those guys are going to have really big years. I think they've shored up their defense a little bit by getting a big man, and I think the Celtics will be pretty close, maybe slightly better than what they were last year in terms of record.
Ooh. They did lose Brad Wanamaker, who was good off the bench. They have picked up Naismith, is their rookie. He's shown a little bit. He's been okay. Then got some some others there as
The
well.
issue with the Celtics as well has been they haven't been able to play any of their young guys enough to see what they've got either. Like guys like Romeo Langford and Carson Edwards, like these guys haven't really had a look into. We don't know if they're any good, and they're going to have an opportunity now. Between that, there's probably about 3 or 4 of those guys that are in that situation. They'll all probably get a chance at some stage to show what they can do. And the one that proves that they can just, provide a little roll off the bench will probably get some minutes and an opportunity to play this year.
Yeah, I think it's a good point.
So, I mean, a lot of people were really big on Romeo Langford. He just hasn't been able to break into that rotation because it's just so stacked. So, he's got an opportunity now to hopefully show what he can do. So, yeah, I think the Celtics, I don't think they got worse at all. I think, if anything, they definitely got better.
I'm disagreeing. I'm saying worse.
In what regard did they get worse by losing Hayward?
Yeah, I think Hayward's a big out. Like, I know that he hasn't been able to be utilised properly, but, I don't know, Teague and Wanamaker, I don't know what sort of real swap that is. Thompson, as we said before, I don't know whether that's a real great, can of Thompson. It's a bit of a, I just don't think they've got clearly better. I'm not going to say they've got worse.
I would agree with Panther there. Like, they haven't clearly gotten better. I think if anything, they potentially either the same or they're worse. You can't say they've gotten better.
The question I posed to you: why did they lose?
You sound like you're in court, Your Honour.
In the Eastern Conference Finals, why did they lose? What reason? It wasn't because they didn't score enough. They couldn't stop the other team, and Tice kept fouling out. They've sort of rectified that issue somewhat by getting Tristan Thompson. So I think, that they do get better.
I think it's a lot of, though, potentials and side trades and, it's a lot of sidewards movement. I think, like we said, they're not clearly worse, but I think it's, it's the same or worse. It's not clearly better.
That sounds like management speak to me. They clearly got better. They got a big man. They're better. Fuck off, Shane. They are better.
All right. So on that note, Neb.
So you're taking the
44.5.
Yeah, I'm
44.5 is the number.
Over or under? He's going up. Panther's going down.
I'm going over, boys.
Panther's going up.
Where are you going, Sauce? Where are you going here? Like, I know we've discussed them a little bit.
He's got to go under now. Both of these clowns do. They said they got worse.
Come on, clown.
I said you can't say they've clearly gotten better. Yeah. Don't throw my words out of context.
These guys are getting splinters in their asses from sitting on the fence here. I love these sort of blokes. So they're happy to argue the point and then they won't put their balls on the line. Fair enough.
44.5. That's a tough number. But
are we honestly saying that this team right there is 10 games better than that Atlanta roster we just spoke about?
100%.
Is that what we're saying?
Yep.
In a regular season, I would take these Celtics in a playoff any day, like over that Hawks team. But in a regular season where it's just an arms race to score, are we saying they're 10 games, which when we're talking about 30 to 40 games, are they 25% better than that roster?
Yeah.
I know you're not good with maths, but
100% they are.
I'm gonna go with Panther. I'm going under.
You're going under? All right.
I had someone agreeing with me.
I'm sorry, Ned, but I'm also going under. But I'm going at 44 wins. I just don't think they're going to get above the 44.5. I don't think they'll cover it. But this is my reasoning, all right? I'll give you some reasoning. I reckon their bench is what destroyed them last year in terms of no depth on there, and it was shithouse, and they had no offensive power coming off there. Hayward was that offensive guy that they took off the bench when he got back, and it was a better fit. They've downgraded in Teague, in my opinion. They've got Tristan Thompson, another big that can't score. And then on top of that, they got rid of Wanamaker, who was a decent scorer, good defender. Really, they got to rely on Ogilvy, Grant Williams, on second and third year guys and first year guys in Edwards and potentially Naismith. So you're putting your belief in these rookies that they're going to be something. If they're nothing, they pretty much stay the same. Or if not, they just got a tad like worse as a side because the depth of the bench isn't
But
as
do you, do
strong.
you think do you think Jaylen Brown and Tatum will have better seasons next year or worse seasons than they had this year?
I genuinely reckon that Jaylen Brown overachieved last year. I reckon that Tatum will plateau this year.
One other thing I think we need to address is probably Ben's body language now that three of us are disagreeing with him. Have you noticed he's visibly sat back in his chair a little bit? He's not up and about so much. Like, it's a really good sort of, for the viewers, if they ever wanted to know a little bit about, the psychology of body language and defeated people and deflated people, that was a really good example.
I was just trying to make out what
He's
it
really
is.
about to spit out his soy latte there.
Mate, I just can't believe the logic behind what you guys are saying. But anyway, we'll move on.
We definitely will move on. We're going to move on to my favorite team that we're going to preview probably tonight, and that is the Brooklyn Headcase Nets. So they are up next. They were last season, obviously no KD, Kyrie for a bit. They were 35 and 37. Offensive rating was 22nd in the league. Defense was 10th.
You can't even compare that though this year. They have got one of the best scorers in the league now playing for them. Landry Shamet.
Definitely. 100%. Landry Shamet, Jeff Green, Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert apparently is going to average like 25 a game, according to the pundits.
I'm excited about the Nets.
Yeah, I am definitely excited for them. I'm happy that obviously we got KD back and hopefully Kyrie can play a full season without any injuries, touch wood. Over-unders before we get into this one again, Saucy.
45.5 over-under.
They are fucking stacked, man. They are seriously stacked.
They are stacked, but is the chemistry of it going to be like, it's the same sort of thing? Like, I'm leaning to unders with you as much as I'm excited about them, and I'm a Brooklyn, I don't want to say believer because I can't say unders and say I'm a Brooklyn believer, but I'm excited. I love everything that's going on with them. I'm really happy for them, but I just wonder how that all comes together. There's a difference. It's like, pizza with a lot is stacked too, but sometimes there's just too much on it and it doesn't go together. And I think maybe the Brooklyn Nets don't quite go together. I don't know.
Oh, here we go.
The issue is going to be Kyrie and KD. Honestly, like, we've not so much KD in terms of being able to play with other players, but I mean, Kyrie has had issues everywhere he's played. He's played with LeBron. He got sick and tired of that. He went to the Celtics. He got sick and tired of that. He's making podcasts in the preseason saying, I don't think we even have a coach or need a coach. Like, to the incoming, Hall of Famer Steve Nash. Like, I don't know. Like, this just has a recipe for disaster written all over it. I mean, I hope it doesn't because it'll be great to see the East become a powerhouse with some really stacked teams like them in Milwaukee, etc. But I mean, if this goes bad, whose fault is it going to be? Because none of these guys are going to want to take responsibility for it not working.
It's definitely everyone's fault but Kyrie's fault.
But I mean, KD is a very sensitive human being as well. He spends most of his time off the court arguing with nobodies on Twitter. So,
with his 30 burner accounts.
It just tells you the sort of level of sensitive.
You can start arguing with four somebodies when he starts fucking up, and us four start giving him shit. Because that's what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, though. That even besides those two players, they have got some really, really talented players. Like, Karis LeVert is a really underrated player. Like, he is not a superstar like those two. But, man, when Karis LeVert is the third scoring option on your team, and then you got, like, Harris and all these other guys.
I'm glad you said that, because let's talk about Harris's 75K. All right, 75. Do you think that's too much? Come on.
Well, Eldridge ripped us when we said that and said, you know what I mean? He's an elite three-point shooter, one of the best in the league. Like, you got to pay for shooting. And they were going to either pay him or not pay him, and they chose to pay him. And imagine the sort of looks that he's going to get out of ISO double teams when you got a team with fucking Kyrie and KD. He's going to be out in the corner just fucking living the dream.
He could potentially shoot the best percentage of his whole career this year.
He's actually shooting 44% from three, and he's second among players with 500-plus attempts over the last 4
I would have assumed this is why they've taken Shamet, to be honest.
100%.
I think Shamet will be a good mentor for Harris as a three-point shooter. What do you think, Shane?
I could see him teaching him a few things. Obviously, he's got good form.
No, but I honestly think
Do one of these ones, Ben.
this one.
Just sit back in my chair. I'm a little bit deflated and upset with that comment.
But yeah, I don't know. Brooklyn is the big unknown. We really don't know how this team's gonna go together. They look locked in their preseason opener. They looked like everyone was chesting and big noting, and they look like we're gonna be the powerhouse in the East. So be interesting. Interesting to see how it plays out.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Overs, unders.
Well, just one quick thing. I think it, as I said, I'm just going to agree with you, Ben. It all starts and finishes with Kyrie and KD and how well they can, if they can put their egos aside and make it work, they could be anything. But if that gets in the way, it could be disastrous.
Yeah.
And look, Harden's suspected he wants to trade there. If he goes there, I'm calling it that it will just
imagine that Kyrie Harden.
The whole team will implode.
That trade is never going to happen. There is nothing on the Brooklyn Nets that is entice Houston to make that trade.
Well, there is. It's either Kyrie or KD, and they're not going to get rid of either one of them.
I mean, you can't take Karis LeVert and some absolutely late
Jared Allen, he's a good center, isn't he?
Jared Allen, Landry Shamet.
I actually think he's a decent center. I rate him.
Well, but this is what I was saying. Like, you look at Brooklyn and when you actually sit there and dissect their roster, you actually go, fuck, this team's actually pretty good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even, guys like you say, Jared Allen and Karis LeVert, they're really underrated players that will do a role. Like, they're not going to put up big numbers, but they don't need to. You just need that 3 to 7 players on that roster. As long as they get, their 10 points or whatever, they're going to be scary good.
How do these guys go, though? That mentality that they had last year and that sort of battlers, like, it's to me, I've seen it all before, I watched the, no all-star Clippers push Golden State and steal 2 games off Golden State in the finals, to then getting all of a sudden Kawhi and PG in and having these superstars, and look at the internal conflict and egos that sort of, that come out of that. And how do these guys go that, for all intents and purposes, almost certain parts of last year overperformed for what people expected? There wasn't, it wasn't a total success, obviously, but there was some, they showed some scraps. They definitely showed they had potential. And then now when you insert these guys in, though, as much as the final success comes down to, probably Kyrie, like say, on how he can hold it together. I think Durant's a bit more of a professional, but it's more about how do these other guys even sort of, mesh now that they've got these 2 sort of divas in the house. Like, how does it work?
Well, it's like any situation, though. If they're winning, I honestly don't think those role players are going to care too much. Like, look at the Lakers. Like, guys on the Lakers didn't really care too much when, they were going to the finals. Like, nearly everyone saw their role really.
It's only when you lose. Like, no one wins too much until that Nugget series with the Clippers, and that's when then Lou started talking, Harold started talking. So, yeah, fair.
All the Clippers players, were on Twitter, big noting themselves being, hard, and then as soon as they lost, they were throwing each other on the bus like little bitches.
All right,
come to Cancun with me, bro.
Lemon pepper Lou, baby.
Lemon pepper Lou. 45.5, ladies and gents. What do we got?
Over or under?
Over or under?
This is a hard one. I wanted to say unders before, but now I think you've sold me on them. I'm going to go with Ben with this one. I'm going to go over.
Over the top.
Sauce, what are you going?
Yeah, I'm going. Look, I just, barring injury, I think they'll do enough to win that amount of games. Like, I can see them winning 50 games comfortably.
Yeah. Over. I am also going over, but the controversy, to be honest, is what? Let's be honest. We want it. We want them to be good, but we want that attached to them as well, so we get some talking points. Next up, we got Charlotte with Big Baller Brand's finest, a LaMelo Ball, and his father is the finest, LeVar, trying to go down for this $200 million match up against Jordan in the 1-on-1. To be honest, I think that's the most
Jesus
interesting
Christ.
thing about this team.
I feel like I keep going on the over, but I reckon Charlotte are going to be decent this year.
They won.
Let's-
They were 23-42.
Well, they've got the number at 26.5.
Oh,
I agree. I think based on last year, you look at what they've added this year, I can't see how they don't win 3 extra games.
I definitely
I'm
think they.
100% on the over on that. 100%. Hayward is not a superstar, and you could argue he's slightly overpaid now with his new deal at Charlotte.
Yeah,
But
just,
he
One game, he makes
100%.
one game a difference, doesn't he? And if LaMelo Ball wins them one game, if Hayward wins them one game, and someone just doesn't turn up one week, there's your 3 games.
And Devontae Graham is super underrated.
PJ Washington also.
I love Devontae. And
Talking about if anyone's looking for a Panini 1-on-1, PJ Washington RPA, don't definitely avoid it. Messaging me on Instagram. I might be able to sell
also,
you.
I'll be lining some Devontae Graham silvers in card market later as well.
Oh.
So jump on, boys. No, but all jokes aside, I reckon Devontae Graham, you look at his numbers, he went like 18-7 or something last year. That's like fringe, like
He was
star,
18-7.
all-star in the East. And I don't know. I know he's older than a lot of the players from his draft class, and he's a small player. Some people say maybe that's his ceiling. But, man, he's got some range. And I think now playing with better players like Hayward as well, he's going to get some better looks. He's not going to have to create so many opportunities in ISO. I think the Hornets will definitely be better. Will they make the playoffs? That's the question. But
They've gone from terrible to slightly less terrible. But I think they've made up 3 games.
easy.
I think they will.
So Panthers going over.
Anyone that follows double coverage, put your house on the over. Over 28 games.
Make sure you gamble responsibly.
Gamble
Only bet what you can
responsibly.
afford to lose.
We are not.
If you've got 2
professional-
houses, put 2 houses on
Oh
it.
my god!
Jesus Christ.
Gamble responsibly.
If you
Disclaimer.
rent, put your landlord's house on it.
Uh,
Talking cardboard fans, you
put
put
your
your house on
son's
it too.
college tuition on it, and
Oh.
then you'll go to a better school.
Well, all right. Well, cut that clip source, and we'll make sure we post that consecutively a few days in a row and see what happens there. But
Gamble
overs,
responsibly.
unders there.
Nice.
Panther, what are you going for? Over.
Yeah, I'm going overs, man.
Over.
Can't not.
Neb's gone
Over.
overs. Source.
Over.
I'm going unders.
He's gone unders.
Jesus, John.
Jeez,
I'm-
you know
We
you're in
won't move
trouble.
on.
when
We
you're
won't
John.
dwell on
It's not
John.
even saucy, John.
We won't dwell on his shit decision. Let him
John.
make his shit decision, and we move on. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Well, shit.
Well, the bookies have given him that number for a reason, right?
John, are the bookies always right, mate?
No, they're not always right, but
No.
that's the number they've given him, and I've got to choose over or under. And I've decided to go under, put my neck out on the line, and we'll see at the end
Can
of the
we
season,
mute
mate.
him, Dom? Can we mute his box in a minute? He's getting out of line. Anyway, moving on.
Domo, what are you going over?
I'm going over. Just they'll win 27 or 28.
John knows how I feel now. He's got the body language going. Everyone's against
Nah,
him.
mate, I didn't sit back. I'm still forward, mate. I'm still forward.
All right, we've got
No sulking. No sulking over here.
We've got the Bulls next. 22-43 last season. 29th offensively. They were actually ranked 9th defensively in the competition. Pickups. I think Garrett Temple was a pickup. They got Patrick Williams is their rookie that they, shockingly drafted as no one expected it for
The college 6-man.
college 6-man. So thoughts on this? Overs and unders source. What have we got here?
The number's 28.5.
Oh, fuck. They are. I'm just going to go off the bat. It is under.
Way under. They drafted, with the 4th pick, a college 6-man. They didn't have much cap space to play with. They haven't really done anything. Like, there's no chance they're winning more.
As an OKC fan who's had to put up with Billy Donovan for a long time, and his inability to tell people like Russell Westbrook to just fucking pass the ball, there is no way he's going to get Zach LaVine to do anything but take ISO shit shots. They are going under. Way under. I'm with you, Panther. Under.
Under. And source.
Yeah, I'm going under on this.
Yeah, he's going under as well. We're all under there. We'll go to get onto the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are next up. They were 19-46, 26th rank offensively, and they were the stinkiest team in the competition, ranked 30th for defense. Source, over, under. What have we got?
First of all, I'll just disclaim it. I've already put selected everyone that we're all going the under, and it's 22.5.
Fuck, they're not winning that. They
No.
picked up Isaac Okoro in the draft, who has looked very, very good so far in pre-season. But
Yeah,
once again, it is pre-season.
Yeah.
I think
So-
he'll definitely help them go from 30th in the league to 29th as far as the defence rating. So I
He's
think
a
he'll be a big
impact
impact.
player.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
see that happening. He's a big impact player.
I can
Yeah,
see that
I like him in
to at least
fairness,
25th.
but yeah, seriously, under.
Under. This-
Everyone's going on 20. Look, that team's not getting anywhere unless by some chance Bronny ended up there in the draft. Then they
Big
might
shout
go.
out, though, bringing Daly back home.
Bloody
They've got him again. They've put him on again.
That's it.
They must
Yeah,
love
yeah.
him down there.
Yeah. But
He's a cult hero.
he is. LeBron created him. That's all that matters. All right, next up we got the Detroit Pistons. I would have liked to say they had LiAngelo Ball, but that's definitely not happening.
It didn't last long, did it?
It did not at all. They were 20 and 46. They were ranked 20th in offense and 22nd in defense. Not looking good. What's the overs unders on this one?
23.5.
23 and a half. They did make the playoffs, didn't they, Detroit?
No.
Did they? Or they just missed it?
They were in the. They played in the bubble, didn't they?
Yeah, in the bubble. Yeah.
They didn't make.
Not playoffs. Sorry, they were
Yeah.
in the bubble. They
Yeah.
made it. In the bubble,
I mean, they drafted well. They've had an all right draft, but I think they haven't got.
They're one of those really unknown teams, though. Like honestly, like
About
one of these shit teams is going to get it together and
100%.
come out and be competitive. And I don't know. I've got a sneaky feeling it could be Detroit. Like they're on paper they're not the worst team.
Bring them in.
Yeah, I'm going to go the over on Detroit.
Oh.
I'll go the over. Now you got to win
Have
what?
you even
20
said the line yet?
It's 23.5.
You weren't
right.
listening, Shane. You fuckhead.
Jesus, I'm
He's
going.
listening to the echo of his
He's
own
got,
voice.
honestly, I've never seen him like this. He's got his guard up really badly tonight.
Yeah, doesn't he?
I just want to put a pause. Is everything okay? Are you okay?
Are you having a lover's tiff, are you?
Yeah? Are you
Me
sure?
or Shane?
No,
No, you two.
Well,
Yeah, amongst
you,
both
mate.
you.
Yeah,
Oh,
mate,
me?
you put your guard
Oh.
up big time tonight. Sipping
I
your
just-
bloody chai latte or whatever it was, and you...
It's fired me up, mate. I've done my bit for humanity with my soy decaf free trade latte.
Hey, you bought it from McDonald's. What free trade shit do you want about?
I ordered it.
May as
said
well join
free
the
trade.
KKK, mate.
Oh,
I know we
Wow.
weren't going to talk
Anyway.
politics, but no. Anyway, on we go.
Pick Detroit. Are you over or what?
No, I'm going unders.
unders.
They're not the team you think they
Panthers
are.
going under.
Yeah.
I'm going under. Sauce, you are going under.
It's a tough one, but I just look.
You go.
Although I hope so much for Sekou Doumbouya because I've got a few of his cards, and I think he has so much potential. I think he needs another year to grow. At 23.5, probably it's a tough ask, and they're probably there with Cleveland as one of the worst teams. But yeah, it's line ball, man. It's line ball. You know what? I'm going to go overs. And I look, if they do win that amount, what did they win last year? They won 22 games.
20.
20 games, right? So they're going to find an extra 4 extra games. It will be line ball. They'll be around that mark again.
Easy. All right, next up, we got Indiana Pacers. Saucy, what's the over-unders? And I'll give a bit of...
37.5.
37.5. They were 45 and 28. They were ranked 19th in offense and 6th defensively. They were 13th in the league. Thoughts?
They haven't changed.
They
The same
haven't.
team.
They do have Jimmy Bucket's son on that team, MJ Warren. We call him Jimmy Bucket's son
I was
on
going
double
to say,
coverage.
is that a real thing? Like, I never.
Yeah,
knew
because
that. Right.
we call him that on double coverage because Jimmy
Yeah.
Buckets made him his bitch during that whole series.
Yeah, true.
He was talked up and he got shut down because he's actually no good. He's just a role player. So
I mean, they re-signed Holiday, but that's it. Like, I don't see any big changes. Like, I think it's the same team to me. And I
Oladipo
think
staying? Is he going?
he's in two minds.
I just think
fair
in a division that, as we said earlier on, has notably improved, and like I think the entire conference has improved. Really,
I'm really not.
they're the same.
on the Pacers. Like
Yeah.
for a long time, they have like sort of overachieved just based on the simple fact that they've been very stable and predictable about what players they've had, etc.
Can we pull up their
agree.
win-loss record for the last 5 years? Because I wouldn't say they've overachieved anything.
I've got it.
But what I'm saying is, every year you've sort of gone, the Pacers will make the playoffs. They'll probably win around 40 games. And they pretty much do, like, every single year.
They probably will.
But I just think, like, exactly what you said at the start, Shane. They haven't got better, but nearly every other team. But we can go down the list of every team in the East. Nearly everyone has got better or tried to get better in some way. The Bucks have added Drew Holiday. Brooklyn have done what Brooklyn have done. All these teams are getting better, and the Pacers are just staying the same. So, I think some of those players there are getting sick of that situation as well, and probably look for trades, etc. And I think finally it might be time for the Pacers to just go, you know what, we need to bottom out and go for some draft picks. Because, they're not going anywhere with that team.
So you're saying unders on that point?
Yeah, 100% unders. Yeah.
So you reckon they're gonna drop 9 games?
Yep.
Okay. I'll just read you their record for the last since 15-16. So they're 45-37, 42-40, 48-34, 48-34, 45-28.
But this is what I'm saying. Though.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere though with the what has that led to? They've had 5 plus 43 win years in a row and they've done absolutely nothing. Like at what point do you just go, maybe it's time to trade away some of these pieces and get some more draft picks and try and hopefully draft another superstar, a bit like what they did with, Paul George, etc. And go, small market teams are never going to be able to sign a superstar in free agency. You've got to draft one. OKC has gone that route. They had every right after last year to go, we could top up and try and be competitive, but they went, we're not going to win a championship realistically unless we draft another superstar. So, let's get rid of what we've got, get some picks and, go.
Some picks, they bloody gotten every pick. I don't know how many picks they got.
38 in total. Jesus.
They've stocked up.
Stat. I've got no idea.
Stocked up, mate. Who knows, mate? I would believe it. You could say 300. I would have believed it because all I hear is, Sam Presti's done another deal for picks, more picks.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think this is the year that the Pacers finally change their direction. And go. If they start out poorly as well, like say they go like 5-10 to start the season, they'll just go, you know what, like it's too hard to grind back and get in 8th in the playoffs and get knocked out first round again. Like, why are we bothering? Let's just fucking play the young guys, go for some draft picks, and, it's going to be a deep draft the year after as well.
Oladipo could still leave.
Exactly. Yeah. And if Oladipo leaves for draft picks, like, where does that team go now? Now you haven't got much at all.
Well, he didn't really play for most of the season. He was injured.
Yeah, they still were able to win.
Yeah. But anyway, I know. Anyway, so
they haven't got much else.
Yeah, it's true. I know, that's fair enough. Miles Turner's injured every second day, and Sabonis gets injured with his back with his foot. Every bloody third day. So,
well, imagine if you put those guys on the table right now, you get a good return for players like Sabonis and Oladipo from a team that's close.
I still think like. I don't want to harp too much about it, but I still think Boston should have got rid of Kemba Walker and tried to get Oladipo and Miles Turner.
I could see that.
I still think that at least they would have got a big guy that can score in Miles Turner. That makes him so much more threatening. And then Oladipo, he scores as well.
But I mean, why would the Pacers do that deal? Like, how would the Pacers get better adding Kemba Walker and losing, those two guys?
No, but sorry, you got to add. It was meant to be Kemba and Gordon Hayward. To use those two,
right?
Potentially
that
to get
makes
those
two. That makes a bit more
enticing.
So, yeah. Who knows? But I'm going overs, but overs for the fact that they're going to lose much less. Like they're not going to win as many games, but I think they'll win 39 games. So that's over 37.5. So that's why I'm going over.
Yeah, right. I'm with that. I'm with that mentality as well. Like I don't think there was no big bad news. There's no real good news.
Yeah.
But, based on where they're sitting, where they're at and what that number is, I think that they ride.
Yeah.
So you're going over?
Under.
Under, yeah.
for Neb. You're going
Yep.
under as well, Panther.
Yeah.
Nice. Sauce.
Yeah, I'm going to go over because albeit that no more roster changes. If they can keep that same roster, I think they can get that number easily.
Alrighty. Next up, we got my boys, the Miami Heat. Very, very happy here. We can discuss this.
Under the most overrated team in the competition.
Wow.
Just go under now.
What's the over/under, Sauce?
It's 43.5.
43.
Over.
5. Yep, they were 44 and 29. They were 7th offensively, 12th defensively, 8th best team in the league. They've picked up Avery Bradley. They lost my boy Solomon Hill, which I'm very, very shattered about. Jay Crowder also left, which is actually genuinely a big loss. He was massive in the bubble and the playoffs. Avery Bradley was good. Pretty much all that's
Avery
changed.
Bradley didn't play the playoffs. What are you on about? Didn't he sit it out?
He did.
Yes, yeah, he did.
He's talking about Jay Crowder.
Jay
Oh,
Crowder
I
was
thought you were saying Avery
Avery Bradley was
good.
pick
I
up.
was like,
Do you know
oh,
what-
he's
do you know
good.
what
Good
was
pickup. Good pickup.
Good pickup.
That was
Crowder
a real
in the
great move
and we
by the
picked,
Heat, though.
and we picked up the greatest named rookie in the history of basketball in Precious Achua. So I'm very happy with that.
I'll definitely
That
get
was-
one of his cards.
yeah.
The best move the Heat made, though, in the offseason was
Yeah.
paying Udonis Haslam $3 million to sit on the bench and yell at everyone again. Like, everyone is just excited for that move.
I
That's
completely
great.
agree. I completely agree. I reckon we'll win 60 games, win the East, and hopefully win the title. No, I'm not one.
Dom is going over.
No, I'm not one of
I'm
those.
with him. I'm going well overs on.
I'm
40
going over.
games.
I am going to go over. And when we get James Harden and we fall to shit, then I'll regret saying that we're going over. But
Mhm.
no, we'll go. I'm going over with Miami.
Yeah.
I reckon.
I'm
probably
going.
6 or
I'm
40.
going under. I'm
Under?
going
What?
under with the Heat. Yeah.
You're saying the Heat are going to lose less. How many was it?
43.5.
You said they're going to win less than 43 games.
Yeah.
I'm
It's a
with
70. It's a
I'm with Dom.
72.
I'm saying 60.
It's a 72 game season.
I reckon
Yeah,
you've
mate.
lost your fucking marbles, Neb.
I honestly I think Miami are grossly overrated because of that finals run. Like, I don't think their roster is that good.
Do you remember like what they were going in, like their regular season record?
Yeah, you said at the start 43, wasn't it?
44 and 29.
44 and 29. So
And you think that the roster's got worse?
well, what's the
Hang on,
line?
no. Can you just tell me?
What's the line though?
43 and a half.
You know what the line is. That's the second time you've asked the question in different words in 30 seconds.
And that,
Do
that
you think that roster has got worse than last year?
But it's less
Do
games
you
than last
think-
year.
one
But
less
do you think
game
that
though.
roster got less. But do you
Well,
not
half
think
the
with the
game's less.
experience they've got as well out of the finals, the confidence and belief they've got as a team alone will carry them to more wins than last year? Because they weren't a bad regular season team. They were good.
We've got
I-
They had a lot of injuries.
I think they're going to be worse. I don't see them getting better. I think Crowder was a big loss
He
for
was
them.
important.
Well,
That is
like,
a big loss. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think, they went well above and beyond where anyone thought they could go. And, they've had a shorter off season than a lot of these teams as well. I don't know. I just think sometimes, you get that close and then you just think you're going to be able to do it again and repeat it with the
Doesn't
same
happen,
recipe. But
Yeah, no, fair
their
enough.
style of play, I don't know whether that's going to stack up next year in an East that's going to be the one key thing we keep forgetting is that the East is going to be a whole lot better than last year. There's not going to be a lot of these gimme games that there was last year. If you got to play Brooklyn like 4 or 5 times, like how many times theoretically you think you're going to beat them? And then you got to play the Bucks, a stack of times. How many times are you going to beat them? I don't know. I just don't see it, honestly.
No, it's fair.
I don't see it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Under.
Gone under.
I'm not doing one of those sports bet, put your house on it things, but I reckon under.
Panther.
I'm going overs for sure, man.
He's going over. Saucy, where you going here?
I'm gonna stick. Look, Ned makes a good point. He makes a good point. He makes a good
Shit.
point. And I talked about this. If you think about back when we done our NFL one, Doma, and I spoke about when you piped up about San Francisco's chances to win the Super Bowl, and I just said, I reckon they're going to have a bit of a
and they
Super
still can
Bowl
win.
hangover, and they're they've overachieved last season. They're probably not going to live up to the hypes. And boy, did I call that one on the nail.
Oh, you
and I think
nailed
there
it.
could be something similar happening in Miami, and something similar brewing in Miami, where they clearly overachieved last season. And not to say that they're a bad side, but
John Aggles here, just repeating everything you're saying now, Ben.
I love it. I love it.
But I agree with it.
Hey,
I agree with it. Something, I'll be the first one to say if I disagree with it. But I just think there could be that hint of, it's not so easy to repeat. It's not so easy to repeat.
Exactly. They've
It's
gone
John's
from
turn to
being
get defensive. Look at him.
They've gone from being a team with zero expectations to we
That's
made
a
finals
fact.
last
That's
year.
a
Let's
big
get
fact
back
that
there.
we got to factor in.
No,
that is a big thing.
Honestly, I reckon we'll win over 43.5. But I was the first one to say that we were going to get. I said we're going to lose 4-1 in the finals, and I said we're grossly overachieved to get there.
Yeah.
But I'm
retracting my opinion. I no longer say 60 games. I now say only 50, based on what you guys are saying.
Moving
that will
on.
still be over.
Moving on.
Through this East so we can.
I'm going to go with Neb. I'm going the under.
He's going the under. All right. Milwaukee is next. Over under Source. What do we got?
Milwaukee 50.5.
50.5. Not many changes. They just got Drew Holiday, who's a gun. So
I think over. I didn't like the fact that Middleton was the second best player on a team that people were tipping to win the East. When I look at this team now, when I see Middleton as the third best player on this team, when you add Drew Holiday, I like that now. You saw what Middleton did when Giannis went down. He can be a really good player for them, but he's not going to be able to carry a team by himself or even be a second best scorer. That's what the NBA is about. It's not about who's your best player or your second best player. It's about who's your third best player. So
and they picked up some good players, man. Like they got Drew Holiday. I know they lost Robin Lopez. He didn't even play, but they picked up Bobby Portis. Torrey Craig is all right. And
Torrey Craig's a good player.
DJ Augustine as well is a good player.
They just need contributors after those three.
Exactly right.
That's all they need. And even like Lopez can play. You know what you're going to get from Lopez. I think they're going to be scary good. I think them and Brooklyn are going to be a bit like the Clippers and the Lakers. They're going to be head and shoulders above most of the teams.
Yeah, they were 56-17 last season. They were 8th offensively, and they were the best ranked team defensively, and they actually were the number 1 ranked team for the season for 2 years in a row. So 18-19, 19-20, they were the best team.
I think Giannis will continue to be the NBA's best regular season player just on athleticism alone. I think he'll also continue to be exposed as the worst fundamental basketballer in the NBA come playoffs in a half-court game and prove that pure athleticism and strength can't win you games in the playoffs, where it can let you just bully arms races in the regular season. But I think they'll still smash it in the regular season.
So is that clear to say that you're going over 50.5?
This comes down to your thing before. This is the odds. It's not about, it's 50s, that odds pick for a reason. Maybe that's representative. I'm going to go just over. I think they can win over 50. Maybe 51, 52.
I'm going over as well. I think
I'm going over, and Source just...
That's overs across the board.
Yeah. And Source, just one thing, just mention it again, just for old time's sake. What does he need to develop?
He needs to develop a mid-range jumper, and if he fails to get that once again this season, they'll just build a wall against him in the playoffs, and sit back and force him to pass it to the outside shooters where they're able to at least contest. Have you seen that Miami defense where they were still able to just contest those 3-point shooters?
Problem is he's not even a smart passer or a great passer, and that's the thing.
No.
This is where I mean fundamentally he's not a good basketballer. I don't think he even has a great understanding of the game. He's just a pure athlete where you could put him in almost any professional sport and he could probably do something, but I don't think he has a great basketball IQ, and I just don't think he has the fundamental skill set to even be a great player.
I have seen him working it a little bit in the preseason, the mid-range jumper, and it's not the prettiest jumper, but
if he's working on it, it's a good thing.
It's
Exactly.
it's a hell of a lot better than Ben Simmons' ones.
Yeah,
It's a
way
whole
more
lot better than
progress
Ben Simmons.
All right,
You've seen Doc's quote about Ben Simmons' jumper, haven't we? I think you posted it to me, Ben. I don't think it was a real quote, but it was a fake quote from Doc Rivers that says, "What was it? I don't care about Ben's jumper. I just finished coaching Paul George."
Oh, that's great. That is actually great. Oh, wow.
All right,
He's a spud.
next team. Next, who are we on to next?
Knicks. Over under. What do we got? Sure, it's under like 18.
It's 21.5. I think this is safely under.
They were 21 and 45, 27th offensively, 23rd defensively. I'm going under.
Yeah, I think this will be a quick one. I just, again, they haven't really added anything. They haven't added really any veterans that are going to.
Obi Toppin's great, but he's not going to make a difference.
Correct.
Yeah, under for me.
Under.
Not really disappointing,
not
but
worth
potentially
talking
think the
about, in my
Knicks are going to
opinion.
ruin another good young kid's career. That's the disappointment for me.
Yeah.
Like, look at RJ Barrett. He's gone backwards every game he's played.
It's really bad that you have that thought in the hobby, and that's what I sort of bring across to people is like, yeah, albeit I like Obi Toppin and I would like to buy his cards, but you know I'm probably buying into a draining well, considering how not very good the Knicks are at developing young talent. You know, you put your money into these cards and you want them to succeed, but really you're probably putting your money into you might as well just flush it down the toilet, because
people forget that you're not just betting on a player. Like, there can be a great rookie, and I know, you know, Ben's big on it, and we've even spoken before about, you know, the differences in even when you're talking football and, you know, and basketball. All of a sudden you're betting on, you know, the sport in general first, you know, then you're betting on the actual market and the team, the franchise, then you're betting on the player. Like, there's so many other factors other than, you know, this kid's a great basketball player or a really good human, you know, I'm going to bet on him personally. That's fantastic. And, you know, I guess it's easily relatable to the NFL this year, even, where, you know, you've got Burrows down, but, you know, Herbert ain't going to win much at the Chargers in a hurry.
Correct.
So as good as he is, he's not in a good situation, you know. You got Tua. The Dolphins have probably got more chance to win. Maybe he's not quite as good as Herbert, and definitely, you know, even if Burrows didn't go down, the Bengals ain't winning shit in a hurry either. So if those guys aren't going to win, it's not going to put him in. You know, I mean, one of the key drivers to Mahomes' rise to fame, like, you know, yeah, he come out and absolutely balled out, but he was in a winning situation, and the Chiefs were already in a winning situation when he stepped in. So, you know, he walked into it. And I mean, this is the same with basketball. You know, the kid can be the best kid in the world, but if he's going to the Knicks, I'm not fucking betting on the Knicks. I'll bet on Obi Toppin, but I'm not betting on the Knicks. And if I'm buying his rookie cards, I'm betting on the Knicks as much as I'm betting on him. So
that segue under.
Across the board, 21.5. They ain't getting over that.
All right, next up we've got Orlando. Over and under Saucy. What do we got here?
30.5.
30.5.
Well under.
Under for Neb. I am going.
I just think they haven't really. It's a bit like the Indiana Pacers situation. Like, everyone else is getting better. Orlando's sort of just hanging around that sort of, like, you know, close to a winning record. They haven't really made any additions. I think it's time for Orlando to play some of these young players as well and see, like, what you've got. I mean, it's really unfortunate that Isaac got injured again.
How long? Like, how many years in a row can a team just sit there through free agency and do fuck all?
Ask Indiana.
Well, I think Magic have become better at that. Like,
exactly. So
it's just
for that reason, I don't think I'm going to spend too much time talking about them. And for me, it's an under. They're an under.
Sauce.
I'm going unders.
Under, Panther under.
Yeah,
yep, very nice. Next we got an interesting one. Philadelphia. Over under Sauce.
42.5.
Oh, fuck.
Over.
I'll preface this by saying
Morey being their best pickup.
It's true.
I honestly think that Philadelphia have learned a little bit over the last year. They've gone back to putting a lot of shooting around Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, which I think is their only chance for that situation to work. If you look at some of the players they've picked up. So for that reason, I wouldn't be like hugely confident on them getting over, but I do think that they're going to be probably a better team than what they were last year. I don't know about Doc Rivers as a coach. I think he is an overrated coach. But one thing I will say about Doc
Want to
Rivers,
ring with the Celtics?
just relax. One thing I will say about Doc Rivers is that he does let players play their own game. And I think he'll let Ben Simmons play to his strengths and he'll let Joel Embiid play to his strengths. And hopefully they've got enough shooters around them that, you know, they can pass out of the double team. Like, I think Curry was a really good pickup for them.
Yeah, top
in my
pickup.
opinion.
That's
Yeah.
a huge pickup.
Picked up Danny Green
He
as
was
well.
lights out, and not just in the regular season, but in the playoffs,
The
he was lights
playoffs.
out.
He
Yeah.
actually was very instrumental for Dallas in the playoffs.
Shane's asshole tightened up every time Curry got the ball against the Clippers. He was like, "Fuck, not again." He was getting real nervous in that series every time Curry
Just
was
hammered
getting.
for that sort of thing, mate. It's fine.
I'm going overs here. I think they're, like you said, Nebs. They picked. That's what they were missing last season. Like losing JJ Redick and some shooters. Their bench was putrid.
Yeah.
And now to get that formula back with Curry and Green and Shake Milton can shoot. Mike Scott shoots almost 40% from three.
And
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and move Tobias Harris. I don't know how easy it'll be with that contract.
Yeah.
But if they can find a taker and add a draft pick or 10, like they might have to do it to get a player that fits better with the rest of what they've got. I think the Sixers will probably...
I really hate that Tobias Harris just can't really fit anywhere well. Like I'm one of the biggest Tobias Harris fans there could be. Like as a person, I think he's great. As a basketballer, I think he's great. But I just don't know where he belongs, and I don't think he does, and I don't think any coach or GM does. Like he just hasn't really found a long-term home. He's one of those guys that's just going to play for, you know, so many teams over his career.
You were also a massive Montrezl Harrell fan at one point as well.
And what happened to his cards?
Burning Man.
Boys, we've got a special event. I have got one for us tonight for when we do talk about another another one. Now, all you nerds watching at home can fire up when I burn my second Montrez sneaker spotlight tonight. So
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Anyway,
I'm going over.
Over. Panther was over. Sauce is over. I'm over. Next up, we have Toronto over under Sauce.
It's 42.5.
42.5. I'm going under.
It's a tough one. Nick Nurse is a really good coach, and I mean, it's a bit. The reason why I'm erring towards maybe just slightly under is just the fact that, like you say, like they haven't really got better.
They
like,
kept Van
lost
Fleet,
Ibaka.
must be happy with, but I
like I like OG. I like OG Anunoby. I think he could be a really good player, but is he going to make that much of a difference to this team next year, even, you know, with a bigger role? I'm big on Siakam as well, but yeah, I don't know. This is a really tough one. Maybe. I mean, I've written Toronto off before and they've burnt me, but I'm going to go under.
He's going under. Panther.
When Kawhi left, I broke them off.
Under. Sauce.
Most definitely going under. I feel like they've just they haven't improved. We bring it back to that sentiment. They've gotten rid of guys. You know, gotten rid of Ibaka. I don't know Fred VanVleet. I'm not sure of what's going on there, whether he's staying or he's going.
No, they signed him.
He's signed, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I wouldn't say that they've gotten a whole lot better. Siakam would have to take a massive jump, and you know, I mean, he's improved, but he'd have to improve and sustain that improvement.
I think that sort of improvement is outside of his ceiling, in my opinion. You know, he's good, and I think he's improved, but I don't think he's what people hope he could be and what he needs to be for them to take that next step.
Well, the scary part for Siakam is he's older than Giannis. You know what I mean? And people try and compare those two players and say, like, Siakam is almost like a junior Giannis. But, I mean, he's already older than him. So, I mean, how much – maybe he's at his ceiling. Maybe this is the player that Siakam is right now, and this is the player he's going to be. So, yeah. Under.
Under across the board. Last team in the East is the Washington Wizards. Over and under for them.
33.5.
Over.
Fuck. Really?
Yep.
They won 25 games and they set it at 33.5. Jesus.
I mean,
Well, they got Russell Westbrook.
Oh, he's a fucking winner, isn't he? He's got a great record.
Well, Westbrook has shown before that he can win games in the regular season. Like
Yeah, it's true.
he brings it every night if he plays the majority of games for this year. And the one thing I will say, when Westbrook actually had a limited amount of success, it was playing with a guy who could play off the ball, which is exactly what you had with KD. Now, I'm not comparing Bradley Beal in any way, shape, or form to KD, but Bradley Beal can
Sounds
play
like
off
you
the ball.
are.
But Bradley Beal can play off the ball,
Yeah.
and
Bradley Beal's a good player.
I think that works for Westbrook. I see them being a reasonably competitive team next year.
Yeah, I reckon they'll get there. Probably
I
35.
think they're going to be just under that, to be honest. Like,
Right.
I don't think they're rubbish at all. Like, and I agree with some of the things you're saying. And I know you're not trying to say Beal and, Durant are, apples for apples. But I just think there's I don't think, I couldn't say overs, I don't think. But they're probably around that.
Westbrook, hang on, Westbrook was an all-star last year, though. I don't want to, I'm not totally sold and confident on this, like it's 100% a lock. But I mean, when you put an all-star into that team, because I mean, realistically, they didn't lose anything because John Wall didn't play last year. So you're adding an all-star into that team, and the young players on that team you'd hope would get marginally better, like your Rui and your, whoever else
Thomas
is there.
Bryant's
and they got
as well.
Bertans is a handy player as well. I definitely think they're going to be better than last year. Whether or not they get to that total will be the question. But I definitely don't think you could say that Washington are worse than what they were last year.
They could sneak into 8th playoff spot. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they could potentially.
So
I'm going over. Panthers going under. So Nev and Sauce, where are you going?
Over.
Saucy.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning the over. Look, I don't think they're not gonna. I can't see them winning 40, more than 40 games. But could I see them winning 35 and sneaking over that total? Yeah, probably. Do I see them doing anything significant in that East? Hell no. They would be like the sort of team that could win 37 games and then get rolled first round. Like that's the sort of team they would be. But Westbrook's not going there to tank. Like let's be real.
No, 100%.
So
he's going there to
60 triple doubles.
His stats and get another triple double season average to win another MVP.
Yeah, and Bradley Beal ain't no chump. So when Bradley Beal's your
no way.
It's okay. So for that
very
reason,
nice. Yeah, that's the East sorted. Jeez, we took our time there. Bloody hell. Just a quick pick on the East. Who's winning it?
Nets. While Ben decides, I'm making a quick toilet break before we do the West.
Go for
it.
Bucks.
Yeah.
Sauce.
That's a tough one. For me. It's Nets or Bucks. Is there going to be a surprise team again like last season? I can't see it. I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the Nets because if KD and Kyrie think that they're the players that they truly think they are, and KD says he's the best player on the planet, like what LeBron does, he goes to a franchise and he just brings that team to success. Well, KD, if you want to show that you're on that level, that's what you got to do.
He'll be the best player on the earth when it's flat. That's in my opinion. That's when he'll be the best player on the planet. I am actually. You've gone with Panther here with Nets, and Neb's probably going to agree with you for the first time. I'm picking Milwaukee. So
agreed. I like their depth, especially.
I just think they're going to be good.
When it comes to the playoffs, that's when you need depth. So
they're going to be very, very good.
And Giannis to shoot a jump shot.
Yeah, fuck. I believe that when I see it as well.
On to the West.
Into the West. Panthers gone on a toilet break, but
we'll start it off.
We'll get into it. Overs unders on Dallas.
42.5.
42.5. All right, they were 43 and 32 last year. Best offensively, 18th defensively.
I always get flamed for being a Luka hater, but I mean, let's be real. Like, are Dallas, we've compared all these other teams, but I mean, are Dallas any better than what they were last year? Like with who they picked up?
Yeah. So one point I will make, Neb, is I'm not sure if you're aware, but some of those guys on that Dallas team last year had career years. Career years. Best they've ever played in their whole career. And
Yeah.
look where it got them to. Now, are some of those guys like, what is it, Finney
Smith,
Smith, and the
Tim
other bloke on the
Hardaway,
wing, Tim Hardaway,
and then Seth Curry, who's now not there anymore.
gone, right? Who also had a career year. Are those two guys going to equal or better their career year? Because if they don't equal it and get worse, well, that makes it harder for Luka. It's more double teams. They're not making as many open shots off the double team. That team doesn't get any better. Porzingis is out for the first bit of the season. You know, if they start badly with that same mantra where if they start badly, like I'm really leaning the under here, 42.5.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Shane will concur. Like we often get flamed for like knocking Luka, but I mean, look, like I said, like that Dallas team to me doesn't look better than what it did last year. Like I couldn't 100% pick them to go over 42 wins. That's just for me. So for that reason, they'll go close. I mean, Luka's a really good, really talented player. He's gonna win them a lot of games just himself. But I mean, if he was to like have a small injury or something during the year, do a hamstring or something, and miss like 10 games for them, like how many of those games without Luka would they theoretically win as well?
Not many.
So I mean, you're really betting on the health of Luka as well. And you know, he missed some games this year already, and like you say, Porzingis is out. So yeah, for me, I think Curry was a big loss for them, especially considering my only real criticism of Luka is that he's a poor three-point shooter. I think he should probably take less threes. And to lose a guy who could hit the three consistently for them, I think that will hurt them slightly. So, yeah, for me, I would say they'll probably go around 39-40 wins for me. So I'm going under.
Fair enough. Panther.
What was the line?
42.5.
Under.
Sauce.
I'm leaning under. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually also going under for the exact same reason. They lost Curry. As Sauce mentioned, they had career shooters. Yeah, so they lost Curry. I do not trust Kristaps Porzingis' health in any way, shape, or form at all. And I just think, like you're saying, Neb, if Luka does go down, the ball is run so heavily through him, the offense. Like, honestly, this team just needs a premium point guard to give the ball to instead of Luka to run an offense, and they will.
And Josh Richardson isn't becoming a shooter. Like, he's not the shooter Luka needs.
Correct.
Well, I mean, this is the issue. I mean, this reminds me of what happens with Philadelphia. I mean, you brought in Josh Richardson, but his deficiencies...
You were pumped about the old Jay Rich edition at one stage.
Well, I like Josh Richardson, but his deficiencies were pretty much the same as the deficiencies on all the other guys on the Sixers.
It was that sideward step we've talked about for some time.
He can't hit the three ball consistently. Him, Ben Simmons, and Embiid, none of them could hit threes. And now, the one thing Luka can't do, the other guy that you're bringing in now to help share the load, he can't hit the three either that well. So now you become, and you lose Curry, now you become an even more poor three-point shooting. The only thing I will say is they are really bullish on their reserve guards. They got Brunson and
Smith.
Who's the other one?
Jr. They all shot really well last year.
Yeah, but I mean they're bullish on Brunson being able to lead that second unit and take some of the pressure off Luka. So I don't know, but like I said, I'm gonna have to go the under for those reasons.
Yeah, fair enough. Next up, we've got Denver over under for them
44.5.
44.5. They were 46 and 27th, fifth offensively,
over third best team in the West.
Yeah, I think for the reasons we just said about the Mavs, I think they're a little bit of a different situation. The fact that Luka's going to get better, but no one else is going to get better on the Mavs necessarily. But guys like Jamal Murray are going to be way better for that postseason run. Michael Porter Jr., if he can shut his mouth, he's going to get better. Yeah,
I picked up JaMychal Green.
JaMychal Green's a great pickup. That's a really underrated pickup.
They're a really deep team.
Not a
Josh
sort of
is a
Jemai Breen.
superstar, even though people don't probably view him as that. He is.
He
So
is. He
yeah, for
definitely is.
me,
And
I'll be shocked if they didn't hit that.
yeah, and even RJ Hampton is actually a decent pickup. So if he develops
And don't
well,
forget, they've got
it's
the
another-
greatest player of all time sitting there on the bench ready to be used at any moment, Bol.
Yeah,
So,
they got Bol exactly.
What happens with Porter Jr. this year? Where do you guys see his career going?
Up slightly. He's got one of the nicest strokes when he shoots the ball.
Is there a lack of trust, though? Do you think? Can you see that there is that lack of trust and he's not in favour there, and can he get in favour?
No, I reckon. Yeah, I'm with what Neb said. He's got to shut his mouth. Definitely. Offensively, he hit some big shots in the bubble and in playoff games. So I reckon he can take that. He can take on the game, and they trust him for that. But he's a massive defensive liability in that team to guard guys.
That's going to determine a lot for him, isn't it? The defense for the Nuggets.
Correct.
That's going to be a really telling thing.
yeah.
Exactly right.
If he wants to take his game to the next level, he's got to. I'm not saying he's got to become an elite defender, but he's got to become a serviceable defender.
Yeah,
that he just literally on the perimeter. You watched him at times last season. He literally just got blown by so easily. And he gives up.
Exactly,
He doesn't chase back on the play.
Yeah.
So it's going to be that next effort. I'm leaning towards the over. I really like that Denver Nuggets team, and they were my smoky, out of all the teams last season that I said if there was one team that could come as a smoky out of that West, it was the Denver Nuggets. So I was pretty right on that point. I think they'll kick off where they left. So
Neb over under.
Over.
Over. All right. Got Panther was over as well. We're all overs there. Next up, we got Golden State.
38.5.
Wow. Now, let's just put
Under.
it this way. They were 15-50, and they've essentially just got Curry back. And
Well, look, I mean,
that's
that's a no. I think, Oubre, I think
more.
Wiggins is probably, there's been a lot said, but
38.5 in the West.
they're not jumping up by that much. Like, this is what I'm saying. There's a lot to change about them. There's a bit to like about them, but gee, it's not that different, is it?
Also got to get that chemistry working as well.
This was going to be the year, for Golden State fans. This was the year that Golden State were going to, reassert their dominance and get back. And obviously,
Clay,
it's just one injury to Clay, and all of a sudden, Draymond and Steph ain't doing that. Steve Kerr's still there, Draymond's there, Steph's there, but I don't think people like Wiseman, Kelly Oubre, Bazemore, Wanamaker. I don't think these guys are big enough to do that.
Well,
happy to take Bowman as well off them as well. I was happy with him as a pickup.
We've said all along, like throughout the pod, it's who's your third best player. When Klay Thompson was back in that lineup, and a guy like Wiggins becomes your third best player, to me, that says 40-win team. Yep. Without Thompson, and now him being your second best player.
Oubre being a third.
Yeah.
People underestimate Klay Thompson's off-ball movement and how much that affects Steph as well.
Such a
agree.
good player.
It's ridiculous.
Underrated.
So, I tell you right now, I'm gonna go under just, but if Curry gets that team to the playoffs, I reckon he wins MVP.
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Like, if he could get that team to the playoffs from going 15 wins last year to now getting them back into the playoffs, say they win over 40-odd games and they sneak in the playoffs, like, I'd say he'll probably get MVP. Because he'll have to average, 35 points to do it.
Not out of his realm.
Not at all. But he'll have to put up some.
He's going to get beaten around, though. He's going to get beaten around.
He's going to get knocked so much.
Yeah.
Saucy over unders as well.
Yeah. Look,
we're all
albeit I want to believe in my boy Andrew Wiggins, as I anticipated him being that third option, Neb, and I went out and bought a whole bunch of his prison base cards, and I'm spewing right now because I thought. It was the perfect opportunity. Him, that third option. He's going to get attention in Golden State, and I'll offload a bunch of them during the season when they've got a nice winning record. Well, I think I may have.
Ben, I reckon we've found a sucker to sell those cat cards to, mate.
No. Carl Anthony Towns, he could keep it. I'd rather buy Jaren Jackson Jr. every day of the week than him.
That is true.
Fair enough. All right,
Who's up
next up,
next?
we're getting into some juicy teams now. Houston Rockets over under.
Phew.
What do we got?
Let's
George?
talk about hard.
35.5.
35.5. They went 44 and 28.
I think Houston are a mess now. Like they're officially,
This
you know, where you
head
just
everywhere.
you try and paper over the cracks and make it sound like everything's all good and there's all harmony. Like it's obvious now. Harden doesn't want to be there. He's turned
And some
up
big
fat.
cracks to paper over with Harden today. Like,
Yeah,
Jesus
and
Christ.
that's what I
Big
mean.
boy.
I think like Houston now
He's turned up like
have
me
to trade.
6 months after lockdown, mate.
Mate, no shit. That's what I thought. Like, I'm never one to fat shame. Like, fuck, I've had a pretty loose lockdown food wise, but Jesus Christ, he's been living life, hasn't he? Like,
He's
He
been
looks
enjoying them
yeah.
chicken wings
terrible.
down at the strip clubs, mate.
mate, him and Lou Will have been there every night.
Honestly, he's always been a bit of a chunky character, but he was just flat out obese, man.
Yeah, I
Like,
say, you know,
and
anyone that
that
ever wants to
red
talk
and
shit
that
about
red
Zion,
shirt
like,
was not hiding shit.
I
Like,
reckon
he
he
Yeah.
looked
was
like Santa.
bad.
Fair
But
enough.
anyway, I think before you know it, he's gonna get traded, and when he gets traded, that will signal the fact that they're gonna bottom out. So for
Under.
that reason, I'm going under.
Under. Panther
Is it all
under.
a ploy? Yeah, I'm going under. Is he going to get traded mid-season and then all of a sudden within weeks drop like 20 kilograms on some fad diet and come out and take some team to the playoffs?
Maybe.
Possibly.
You've got. Where's he going? Philly? Who knows? Who really knows? Sauce, what are you going? Over under.
I'm going under. You got John Wall, Boogie Cousins, injury prone to the max. One of them most definitely does not stay fit throughout the whole season.
Both those guys aren't playing a whole year.
And yeah, it's just they're not going to be able to get it done. You got Harden, big ego, doesn't want to be there. If he actually gets forced to stay there and play, let's be honest, he's probably going to jack up 35 shots and just pat his stats, and that won't help the team. So, I'm going unders.
Nice. All right, next up, here we go. Over under on Panthers boys, the Clippers.
It's 48.5.
Wow.
Under.
Look,
Man,
it's
you
a
got
hard one. I
Clippers.
think they're the second best team in the West. Like, you know, I think it's pretty clear at the moment that it's, you know, Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets for me. 48, whether that's too many. We went 49 last year. It's only a game shorter. We had a lot of injuries last year as well. You know, so many people miss games. I still think we can win 49, or 50 easy.
I'm going under. I think that they'll be a good team again, but I don't know. I just don't think the Clippers take the regular season as serious, or especially Kawhi. I don't think he takes the regular season all that serious. I definitely think he'll do some of his own load management like he always does. They'll probably win around 45 games, get in one of those top seeds, and then go from there. So
Will
for that
45
reason,
be enough to lock in a strong top seed
well, I think it will.
in the West?
I think the Lakers will probably do the same. I don't see LeBron playing as many games as what he has in previous years, especially with all the posturing about how soon after the last year's season.
You don't really need him to, though, now that you've got THT. Like,
exactly. So we've now got a third All-Star. So probably doesn't need to play as many games this year.
So we're going here. I'm going under for Clippers.
Maybe they win 46, 47.
I'm
I don't
taking
know.
overs.
Overs, Sauce, what are you going?
Unders for me because this segues onto our next team, which is the Los Angeles Lakers, and they've got the number at the same.
Hang on, how did this happen? How did we just change? We've just talked about the second best team in the competition.
Wait, we got to segue over to the Lakers, mate, because
That
they
was
are
a
the
very
best
passionate segue, though. Yeah, I don't know. You didn't give that segue to any other team.
That's because it's
the
next on the list. But the only reason the reason I say the only reason I'm going unders is because I can't go overs when they've given the Lakers the same number of 48.5, and I'm going to go overs on the Lakers. So that's why I go unders on the Clippers.
It's purely a jealousy thing. No, fair enough. Anyway, let's keep going.
So 48.5 on the Lakers.
On the Lakers.
They are not
Overs.
winning. They are not winning that.
Yes, they are.
I'm going under. They're not winning that.
I'm going under as well. I don't think you can bank on how many games LeBron and AD are going to play this year. So Yeah, I think you got to go under.
I just think their chemistry. They've got no time to get it going. I understand, like LeBron, they got AD and everything worked in one go, but the fact that LeBron and AD probably aren't going to play all the games, and it's
Yeah.
I
practically
think
a
there's going to
brand
be
new
a big
team.
defensive
Practically brand new.
slippage this year as well
Yeah.
for the Lakers. Like when you think about it last year, offense-wise for the Lakers, and you've laughed about it so many times, Ben. The two different game plans were give it to LeBron or give it to AD. Now, and I mean, then what was accepted was that the role players played defense, and LeBron or AD played ISO and scored. Now,
But if they don't play,
but the
if
way the
AD
team's changed, like it's not defensively, you haven't done yourself any favors. Defensively, the Lakers, I think, have got worse. Offensively, I think the Lakers have got obviously a lot better. But do you need more offense when you've got LeBron and AD and you just essentially play either give it to LeBron or give it to AD? It's you need 20 points a game from Harrell? And is there 20 points a game from Harrell between like LeBron and AD? Can, AD and Harrell work together? And can Schroeder play off LeBron? Like, I think there's a lot of questions, more so than people probably think. I don't think it's as straightforward as the Lakers are great. But I still think, if it works, it's going to work well.
For those reasons, I'm going under. Only for the regular season, I still see them probably winning it all. Yeah. But I'll go under.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So Panther, you going over or under?
I'm going to go overs. Like, I don't think they're going to take it as easy, and I still think, as I said, it's going to be one of those boom or bust things. And I think, if they can get it right, it's going to be amazing. If they don't, it's going to sort of be disappointing for a lot of people, and there's going to be a lot of embarrassed people. Two of them probably in this video right now. Yeah. But cool. I don't think the odds of it failing are as strong as the odds of them being very dominant.
And Source, what are you going for?
I'm going over 48.5. I think we're gonna lock in that number one seed again, or number two seed. I think take LeBron. Say LeBron doesn't play and AD plays. Still, just look at that starting five that you could potentially have.
Oh, yeah, they might make the playoffs,
right? That starting five there could still win you games if LeBron sat out and they played against some of the lesser teams.
Like if they played in the NBL or in the NBA.
No, in the NBA, they would still win teams. Yeah, they'd still beat the Charlottes. They'd still beat those average teams. And they're the games that they're going to sit out. When it comes against the bigger teams, LeBron usually steps up and plays. He definitely doesn't rest as much as Kawhi. So
mate, you're lucky to win a title, mate. Goran Dragic got injured, and you fucking almost lost to us, mate.
Here we go. Move on.
You're fucking so I put Miami still ahead of the Lakers, mate. So anyway, we've got Memphis up next.
Memphis 31.5. The numbers at.
Yeah, I'm going 33.
Yeah, I'm
Ja Morant's a real deal.
Yeah, I agree. Like watching Ja Morant, I know it's only preseason, but I don't know. He looks like the player he was last year, and he nearly got him to the playoffs last year. I don't see any reason why.
In the next 2 to 3 years, Ja Morant's going to be the best point guard in the NBA.
Yeah, fair call.
Big call, but I like it. I like it. Agree. So for that reason and an increase in his development, I'm going to go 33. And I think he makes players around him better. So yeah.
This is music to my ears. I love this shit. Source, what do you reckon? Over?
I'm going over 31.5 wins. I think they could sneak into that 7th, 8th spot. They probably should have during that bubble. I think it was unfortunate that JJJ got the meniscus injury, and that probably derailed their situation. But it's where I look at in terms of Jaren Jackson Jr., I think this is the year where he could potentially take that next step and win the most improved player. He was averaging sort of 17 points a game. He came in that short sample size in the bubble, and he was averaging 25 points a game. So I think this is the next step for him as a player and for Memphis as a franchise, if they're seeing Ja and JJJ as the two key pieces to keep around and build around those guys. I think it's important for him to take that next step and sort of start getting up towards that 22, 23 points a game and, that 20 and 10 average that you really want from your big guy. And, not for anything, he's probably the best guy who's at 7 foot that shoots the three other than Kevin Durant. I would say in the league. So he shoots it lights out. Go have a look at his stats. It's up near 40%. I think 39% he shoots it at. So which is really good for a 3-point shooter. And I think that's the next level for him personally. And I've got a whole bunch of his cards, so I'm all in on JJJ.
I was
so
going to say,
of course I'm going to talk him up.
You know his stats.
I know. Of course I'm going to talk him up.
Every card that's ever been printed from
But
Junior. Which is, but I genuinely got excited there when you were speaking about Morant because I've been high on this the last few weeks, but I said Morant was probably going to be the better out of the two, out of him and Zion in that draft. I don't know. I'm just not 100% in on Zion at the moment. I know he dominated against Miami where they had no one playing and everyone was just jumping up and down. I think the thing that everyone should have looked at in that game was the fact that he played every minute without restrictions. That's the only thing I took out of that, to be honest. But time will tell, I guess. We've got Minnesota up next. Saucy.
Minnesota. We got 29.5. Are you going over and under on that Memphis one, Doma?
Oh, I'm going over.
Over, all right. So we got 29.5 Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm going under. I reckon he's shit. I don't care. I don't care about
number one pick, Anthony Edwards.
No.
It's gone there. Now I'll just talk about this first. Do we really see Anthony Edwards being able to have a fair crack in that system?
No.
It's one of those situations where it's not really ideal for a young player. He's going to have to really, really be a mature sort of player to survive there. So, yeah, for that reason,
that's indicative of this year's class altogether, though, isn't it? Like it's probably not, the most exciting, or there's not a lot of excitement or prospect coming out of this draft. Would we all agree?
But do you feel that that could be partly because
look at you.
I reckon Doma has said that a few times that this draft class is shit.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of that's built around not being able to watch March Madness and no hype being built around.
It's partly education. I'm only winding Doma up. I agree completely. Like I think it's there's definitely some talent, but I think it's so much of it is not being able to watch and hype on that sort of, like you say, Final Four.
You couldn't honestly bet on Minnesota. They're just going to be one of those also ran teams. So for that reason, I'm not going the under.
Under,
yeah.
Under, and Sauce, you were going under.
I'm going under. I've got no faith in that team at all.
Next, we've got the Pelicans. Panther, you.
Here we go. 33.5, the number. Big Z, can he get them over 33.5 wins?
I think he can.
Yeah, he can do it.
I reckon that the makeup of that team's great. They got Bledsoe. They got Steven Adams there as the center now. Josh Hart, JJ Redick, Brandon Ingram took a step in a fantastic direction last year, and now Zion will play hopefully every game without any restrictions. So I reckon they will. I'm going overs.
Yeah.
I think that's a low number. I think it's a really
low number.
More than achievable. And, as long as they can pick up their defense for which wasn't the best last year, but hopefully that improves. And I think, the likes of Steven Adams and Bledsoe is going to help with that. Both of those guys being pretty decent defenders at their position. I think they could definitely achieve that goal. And I just want to see, look, there's nothing more that I want to see than just see Zion just explode. Like just all that hype just comes to fruition. They don't put his restriction on his minutes. He's not resting games. He goes in there, just has a clean run of health and just gives him a chance to dominate and just show what he really can do. Like I just think we haven't even seen one. We haven't even seen half of what
the surface
Zion
has been scratched for me. Like for Zion, I think there's so many more aspects to his game than just this dunker. Or, this cut and finisher. Like, he can pass. We've seen that. I mean, that opening game he played against was at the Spurs with his shooting. He can shoot. Like, that was probably a bad example. That's not a regular game for him. He's not going to go out and shoot 5 threes or whatever. But, I think there's so many aspects to his game that we haven't seen a lot of yet, that he's just going to blow minds when he's got the opportunity to do it. We can all talk about injury prone and fat, but let's be honest, Luka come out with about 18 shins. Harden looks like fucking Santa. To be honest, I don't think Zion's in that bad shape compared to some of the players in the NBA at the moment that people seem to be very keen to just, to bet on and think that they're, an instant MVP chance. So I'm all on board Zion.
I'm above. I'm going above. I think Z's the real deal.
Yeah.
Bang. Sauce over.
I'm going over too. Yeah.
All right. Next, we've got Oklahoma. We'll breeze through a few of these next teams. Oklahoma.
20.5.
Yeah, I'm getting the hurry up here, boys. I'm gonna have to push on. Let's push on.
Yeah, I'm going under.
Under.
Yeah, under as well.
Under across the board.
Under. Phoenix
Suns. Quick one. They added quite a few players. It's 37.5. I think this is, this is their time to shine. Phoenix, if ever was a time for them to make a playoff push, they've been allergic to the playoffs for how many years? This is the time to, make that run. You got CP3, a true leader there. It allows Devin Booker to take less of a role off the ball, allows CP3 to play that playmaker. Devin Booker can focus on scoring.
If Ayton can't do it this year, he never will do it.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Everyone wrote off CP3 last year with OKC, and he proved the doubters wrong. So, yeah, for that reason, if they've got to do it this year, so I'm going to go over as well.
So over across the board. There. Next up, we've got Portland. What do we got, Sauce?
39.5. Bank this as an over. I'm telling you, as long as that team
42.
stays fit.
Yeah.
As long as that stays fit, they're over. Like, they had a lot of injuries last year. If they don't get as many injuries, and Lillard is just an absolute beast, he will get them over.
And they did pick up Houston's best defensive player in Robert Covington and three-point shooter outside of Harden. And they picked up Derek Jones Jr. from Miami as well. Next, we've got Sacramento. What do you got there, Sauce?
27.5.
Yeah, they are a rabble.
I know that's a low number, but they're a rabble. I got to go under on Sacramento.
Yeah. Does honestly De'Aaron Fox earn that max contract or whatever, that massive contract? Like, is he really worthy of that contract?
He's worthy of it.
I think he is, but I think the rest of the team is just so poorly put together and so disjointed. Like, a guy like Buddy Hield is never going to work next to a guy like De'Aaron Fox. Like, just everything about that team is just horrible. Like, Fox is the only good thing I like on that team. So for that reason, as much as I like Fox, I'm going under.
Yeah. San Antonio, last two. San Antonio.
29.5. That's a low number for San Antonio.
It is, but I mean, that sort of tells you, like, San Antonio aren't getting better. They're getting worse. And they have been.
And I think we still think of San Antonio almost as that team that it once was, and they're always competitive. I think it's been a long way away from that team, and they're drifting further and further away from it. And I think it's probably their time to completely bottom out.
I'm with Panther.
Yeah,
I'm under.
I think we're all under there. Utah,
41.5.
Interesting team for me.
I
don't know how
really like
Mitchell's got to make that consistent leap now.
100%.
We've seen him potentially do it a little bit in the playoffs. Some people talk about him. Hobby-wise, we've seen his cards jump right up. We've seen him drop right back down. I think now's the year where he has to be able to do that for an entire season, not for half a season or a bubble or a playoff series. This is his time to prove that he is legit.
Yeah, I believe in Donovan Mitchell. I've always been a big believer in him. I like the coaching setup in Utah as well. So for me, I wouldn't say they'll go way over that, but I think they'll be competitive again and they'll just get over that 41. So I'm going over.
All right, over. I think everyone's over across the board there again. Well, we're very consistent in the West. All right, quickly, let's just rattle these off. Western Conference winners. Who are we going for?
Lakers.
Yeah.
Everyone's Lakers there. Most improved player.
JJJ.
JJJ for Sauce.
Zubac.
I don't know if he's being serious.
No, I don't care. I'm actually putting
serious. I think he's got a good chance.
I'm putting that there.
He's going to become a closer this year.
Yeah,
he started, as bench. He got himself as a starter, and then he set himself out the goal that he wanted to he become a starter in the NBA. Now he wants to be a finisher, and I think the way the team is, and I think he's going to move into that. I think he's got the potential to he works really well with Kawhi. If he can get some more minutes with Kawhi, I think he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, this is a really tough one. Yeah, I don't know. I could see a guy like Lonnie Walker on a really bad team coming out and being a good player this year on the Spurs. He could be most improved for me.
Did you pick Lonnie Walker? Oh,
He can't really get worse, can he? So he doesn't have to do much to improve.
That's fair.
I'm struggling. I'll just put something in there to everyone listening. I have no idea. MVP.
I'd like to say Curry, but I don't know if they're going to win enough
I
games.
like your call, Curry. If Golden State make the playoffs, it's Curry's MVP. But yeah,
it's going to be tough. Yeah, I mean, Giannis would have to put up insane numbers to go 3 times in a row. So for that reason, I would stay away from him.
KD?
that'd be great.
KD.
That'd be
I'll
great.
go
If he
KD.
could come back and straight into it, win it, I'd love that.
Yeah, that's a
Not
hard
gonna
one.
happen.
I'm gonna go LeBron.
LBJ.
There's a name I've never really heard in the mix before.
He's deserved another one.
Should have about
Everyone
15
else
of
has
them
an
anyway.
average year. He might sneak it. So, yeah.
Sauce, who are you going for this MVP?
I'm going Anthony Davis.
Very nice.
Nice.
AD. Should I go left field? Fuck. Oh, I'm struggling. No, I'll just go LeBron. I went for him last year. He should have got it. And rookie of the year.
I'm going to say
So many
LaMelo.
potentials. Too many potentials for me to try to pick one. I think there's so many guys that are on an almost even thing, because Rookie of the Year is so much as much as about narrative and story as it is about actual performance. And I think a lot of that shapes our perception. And I think there's so many players on an even footing with the way we've come into this season. And like we said, it's probably not as much that it's through a bad draft as it is just through the players haven't been marketed through college. They haven't been marketed into this hype machine as well. So I think, that narrative is even for so many people. And there's so many players that by halfway through the year, we might not even really heard of that could be right up there. So such a
who's your
hard one.
pick?
That's exactly right. Who are you picking?
Just LaMelo, just for the simple fact he's got a name, he's got
It's
hype.
because it's the only rookie, or
So you go on LaMelo?
Romero.
Are you going LaMelo?
Yeah. I'm
No, you are. What's Panther doing? Fuck, he's got no idea who he wants to go for.
I don't. I really don't.
I'll pick the Panther, and if I get it right, fuck, well, happy days.
Yeah, go. I don't think you could. I don't think like
Denny, I'm going Denny Advija for Panther.
And I'm just going to go my boy, Obi Toppin, because I want him to succeed. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to
Nice
go
pick.
I'm going Cole Anthony from.
I do like Cole Anthony.
Yeah.
And finally, to finish off this pod, your NBA champions for this season.
Lakers.
We're going back to back, baby.
Yay! Lakers
Ross.
back to back.
The board.
Thanks for having us on, boys. Appreciate
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, we'll keep collaborating and doing more pods down the track, and then hopefully we can find some time, get back together, and do the post-season review, and we'll go through this shit and see how much we stuffed it up. So
got a couple of NFL boxes, spare ones sitting around that I'm not going to break. So we might have to jump onto a live stream one night and break up a couple of NFL boxes. So as we start to head towards the playoffs and sort of open some boxes on a live stream, see what we can hit.
Very nice.
That'll be nice.
Very nice.
For sure.
all good, boys.
Well, thank you. It's been double coverage. Keep living, loving, and breathing sport. It's Dom with the great man Sauce and the great fellas from Talking Cardboard, Neb and Panther. Thank you once again, and peace.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gents.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to leave a review on the Apple Podcasting app. Also, follow us on socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Talking all sports. Double curve.